right, Politico's chief White House correspondent Mike Allen here with the Morning Playbook. Let's start with Michelle Obama and how she's playing a role in the president's campaign as it pertains maybe with the middle class.
No, this is fascinating. She became such an asset at the end of the 2008 campaign after a rough start. But now they're using her in a very different way. One of the few barriers between President Obama and voters has been that he's a little bit exotic, the Harvard thing. And she's been helping with that. As she's been on the road, she's been talking a lot about the itty-bitty apartment, as she calls it, that her mom, who now lives in the White House, grew up in. Her dad going off to the water plant at the same time he was fighting MS. So she has an authentically middle-class experience that they're now rolling out as another way to try and contrast with the Romney background.
There was a question that I had about a Politico story the other day, that there were Democrats concerned that she wasn't campaigning for House members. And it hasn't always been the case that first ladies would go out and do these kinds of races. Well,
they haven't. And as you know, the House members have been whining about the president not doing enough for them either.
Right.
And Jim Messina, David Plouffe have been blunt with them. They're like, first things first. They're worried about themselves. House and Senate, they'll worry about later.
I think her story really resonates with the middle class and the challenges they face at this point.
Yeah, and she's been a big part of the president's effort to reach out to veterans, a big program to hire veterans. Something else that's up on Politico today is specifically young veterans are a key part of this very narrow demographic stew that they're trying to put together. Your older veterans are pretty likely to go Republicans, but they think they have a good chance with vets who are coming back. The unemployment rate was sky high, double digits.
It's
It's
incredible.
come down a little bit.
But in fairness, she and Dr. Biden have been doing all that good work for the veterans since long before the campaign.
Yeah, hiring our heroes has been throughout the administration.
Talk about some of the southern governors who are deciding to take a pass on Medicaid. They're looking at the Supreme Court decision and making some pretty dramatic decisions.
Well, yeah, and Joe, here's the fascinating thing about this. The House keeps voting to repeal Obamacare, which does nothing. But this does a lot. There are now 5 Republican governors, Texas, South Carolina, a couple of Louisiana, who have said that they're not going to take, Florida, who are saying they're not going to take the Medicaid money. Politico added it up, and we found that this means that 1 in 5 of the people who would have been eligible for additional coverage under Obamacare now are not. And there's a bunch more governors are still looking at it.
And what's their justification?
What they're saying,
opting out?
Yeah, they're saying we've been given the chance by the Supreme Court to get free of one thing from Washington. We're going to do it. Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell is thinking about it. That would be another big state that would really push.
You could potentially have 26 governors. Democrats say that won't happen, but there were 26 states that challenged the law.
What does that mean?
It means half the country would not be buying in. And, theoretically, the whole thing works because of scale. And if you don't have the size of people getting into those exchanges, you've got a real problem.
Yeah, they were counting on those states, all states participating. And so when you had the 26 states sue and then win on that point, on the Medicaid point, then all of a sudden now you've thrown the door open with respect to how you're going to actually fund Obamacare going down, down the road.
The counter-argument is that there's going to be pressure on those governors to take the free dough.
And as we saw in the state of Florida that opted out of other federal programs 10, 15 years ago, they eventually came into it because the weight on the population grows exponentially as time passes. So the governors have to sit there and look at this pot of money, but always know, as governors do, that it comes with strings attached, and that's one of the big concerns Republican governors have.
Yeah, and the slow ramp-up is big because we found out that Obamacare did not save any money as originally had been promised, and now it's not even working on the very narrow grounds where it was sold.
That's right.
All right, Mike Allen, thank you very much.
I've got a confession to make.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
I know one place where Obamacare is working.
Florida.
So, no, I mean... So I'm going to get killed for saying this. So I'm like having breakfast Saturday morning, and I'm eating my pancakes.
Yeah,
busted.
And my wife asks me, what would have happened if the Supreme Court had repealed Obamacare? And I'm sitting there like, what, Robert? I'm sitting, and I look up and I'm like, why do you ask? She said, because your 24-year-old son decided not to get health care at his employer.
He's on your plan.
And I looked up, I said, do you mean the Scarborough family is buying into Obamacare? She said yes.
Busted.
I've been calling my son for the past 3 days. He's not picking up the phone. I think
Just another Obama voter.
No, my son may be. I don't know, but I know this: he's not getting money taken out of his checkbook.
I wonder how many Republicans in Washington have children who are buying into the plan.
I don't know. I wonder how many Republicans are as out of touch with what their sons are doing with their health care plans as me.
No, but I mean, I bet you there are most of them.
Oh, my Lord, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just another.
I pushed the pancakes away and just walked outside.
It's like, thank you for the stimulus. This is bad. I'll take it. Sports is next with Jonathan Capehart.